Okay, everyone. So we're going to be trying out a new vector drawing shape today. We're going to be using the shape tool to do it. So far, we've gone through the bowling ball, we've gone through the Pac-Man and the Triforce. You guys have done a great job on that so far. We are going to be working on our TV. So just take a quick look at it. There's a kind of a lot going on, a bunch of different shapes. So this is just a higher level of complexity, basically. So it's just going to be a few more shapes layered on top of one another, and you kind of have to figure out which shape goes where. So things we want to think about today are details, as always. Also changing the kind of the size of shapes, right? How that works. Being kind of very accurate with our shape changing, very intentional, and also thinking about what order we're making shapes in. Because remember, your first shape that you make goes in the back, and then everything you make consequently kind of gets stacked on top of that like the sandwich. So we want to keep that in mind as we start to work right in Gravit Designer. But I want to show you a few different things first. So we have, I'm going to start with just a bunch of different shapes, hopefully. One thing I have noticed is you kind of have to go back to these shapes. Every time you make a shape, it tends to go back to the pointer tool, which is helpful sometimes, and sometimes it's just really annoying, like when you're trying to make a bunch of shapes really quickly. We have a ton of shapes. They're right here. They're all different sizes. And as you can see, we have a bunch of different layers over here. Remember that you can move these layers around. So for example, we have one yellow star, right? And that yellow star is kind of nestled in between these other stars. But if you wanted to, you can move that yellow star. And again, if you highlight, it should give you, so this is the yellow star. We know that because when you hover over these other stars, it kind of tells you where they are. So what you can do is, not that, you can move this up and down. So if you move that star to the top of the pile, that means it's going to be all the way on top, right? Similarly, you can move it all the way to the bottom of the pile if you need to. And now that star has been tucked under all those other stars. So you're fiddling with what order you have your shapes, and this layers menu makes it very easy to do that. Actually, a lot easier than Illustrator. So just keep that in mind. That's something to look out for. The other thing I want to show you is the zoom tool. So it's kind of an option over here. When you click on it, you're going to get a bunch of different options, right? Right now we are at 100%. That means you can see 100% of your page. If you turn that up to 200%, right, you start to get a little bit closer, and you can, kind of surf around and move wherever you want to. But you can double that. You can go up to 400%, right? And you can get as close as you want, all the way up to, looks like, 256,000%. So that's as close as you can go, and as you can see, it's so close that we can't even see where we're at. The other thing that you can do, which is what I'm doing right now, is you can use your left hand on the Windows button or the Command button, depending on if you're using a Mac or a PC, and you can scroll with your other hand. So use the click wheel or the scroll function on your mouse, and that's going to zoom you in and out without using the zoom button. So that's kind of helpful if you get lost and you need to just zoom out right away. You can use that. The zoom is going to zoom in exactly where your cursor is. So right here, if I want to zoom in to the upper left hand corner, I'm going to put my cursor over there and zoom. If I want to zoom to the top right, I don't know why I would keep my cursor over there and I would zoom in over there. But if this is the place that you're trying to look, right, you have to kind of adjust with your mouse where you want to zoom. Okay. Another thing I want to kind of bring to your attention is no matter how far you zoom in with the zoom tool, all you're going to have is clean edges, which is nice. It's never going to get pixelated, no matter how far you zoom in, no matter how small you work, because it's a vector-based program. So where things like Photoshop or any kind of, like, I don't know, Instagram, Facebook, anything like that, works on photographs, right, that are raster based. They have individual pixels. Illustrator does not. It has it's called a vector based program, and it's going to have these very clean shapes no matter how far in you zoom. So there you go. So yeah, zoom tool up here is the easy way to do it. You just kind of choose if you want to zoom back to original. You just go to 100. If you want to zoom in a little bit tighter, you can use one of the other options, but that's over there. The other thing that I want to bring to your attention is the ability to make rounded edges on a shape. So if you see over here, we have just a regular old rectangle, maybe the back of the TV, right? But you have to put a TV screen on that, and if you notice, the TV screen is not angular, it is rounded, like old school TVs. And you can come over here to appearance, so when you highlight the shape with the pointer tool, it'll give you a bunch of different options. So you can change the blending option, the opacity, the style. Well, not the style because that's a pro, but you can change the corner edges. So if you want, if you move this slider, you'll get progressively more rounded edges. And if you do that too much, right, it's going to turn into kind of a circle, right? So you don't want to go too far. But you can go sort of far. And that'll give you some rounded edges. And that will be something that you need moving forward, and it will be something that you need for this particular shape. So just wanted to let you know about those 2 or 3 things to help you kind of create your TV. And that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions?